her sister, who's still alive, donated $175,000 to us just for us to stay alive, and we did not expect that. And it just came in at the right time, and it allowed us to, get a little more time and, to a little more longevity and staying alive a little bit longer.
Welcome to another episode of the Powerless to Powerful Recovery podcast. My name's Jason. I'm an alcoholic. As always, our mission is to share experience, strength, and hope across multiple media platforms. The story of addiction and the road to recovery. Ron, we're not affiliated with Alcoholics Anonymous or any other 12-step based organizations or groups in any way. But here we go, Ron. We're back.
Here we go.
And we're back with another episode. And when I talk about fire, one of my favorite books, Tony Robbins, Awakening the Giant.
Awakening.
I wouldn't want to compare someone to, say, a young Tony Robbins unless I was comparing myself. I shouldn't say that. Matt, edit that out. A little too much ego to start the podcast. But today, we have Roy Robbins on the show. Roy Robbins, he is not only one of the founders of Mana Health and Wellness, Outpatient Clinic, PHP programming, vocational programming, individual therapy sessions, vocational tracks of programming to solve the biggest problem of most all behavioral health centers. They graduate 90 days later, 91 days. It still feels like day one in one area, and that one area is in your wallet because you're still broke, right? And so what Mana has the ability to do is to have PHP, have the group and individual counseling, but also developed and has developed vocational tracks, a plethora of them, where they're going to actually not only get trained on every aspect of it, but also the hands-on component of whatever job that might be. He's the director of compliance. He teaches group. He is all things Mana Health and Wellness. And I also want to say Mana Health and Wellness is a family business.
Let's go.
A true family business.
For sure.
Right. And so we're going to have a chance over the next, several studio sessions to get to meet some of the other team members. But we had to start with the best first. So, Roy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, let's get fancy. And
he's one of my new favorite people.
Can you explain why?
Well, I had the opportunity to meet the whole family over there and be able to have some conversations one-on-one with each person. And just, when you meet certain people and, there's certain things you can't fake. And you can't fake being genuine. You can't fake a servant heart, that type of stuff, because it's about the actions. And I see what you and your family have done and what you've endured, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But just, I'm excited for what the future holds for your guys' clinic, and I'm glad that I get to have a front row seat and watch you all succeed.
Yeah, and I think that what's important, I have been knowing you and your family for almost 3 years.
3 years now, yes.
So prior to shout out to Desert Recovery Centers, though. We're about to be operational with clients next week, 2 years. So big shout out to us, Matt. I want a separate side post, 2 years, but it's also been 3 years, really. And so
seems like 10.
It feels like 35 years, but it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
And so the reason why I bring that up to say this, I've been knowing your family, your mother and your sister and the whole entire team. I helped and assisted with the licensing way back when.
For sure.
Now, Ron knows that I get calls all the time. Desert Recovery Centers was an opportunity for us to build something and do it every single aspect of what we've tried to tell others as consultants to do. But I know it's a lot of cost. I get it. But we did them all and it works, And your mother, out of all 20 plus I got to give her flowers, because out of all the clients that I've worked with, she is the most efficient, organized. You can give her anything. She'll get it done. She understands it. She retains it. She implements it, and she keeps up with it. So bringing you in and bringing Tehani in to really have that core leadership of family led by mom.
Yep.
Can't fail.
Nope,
so I've waited 2 years for you guys to get to this point, to have you on the show, to launch Mana to the world, because we're now at the point where you're currently operational. You recently just got into the Access Network, opening up all the access plans. And basically what I'm telling you, industry, And when we send out that social media post that lets you know it's green light across the board in the next 30 days, we will be able to take every access plan. And what's most important, not about being able to take in the plans, what's going to happen while we're there. True programming, evidence-based treatment, CBT, DBT, tracking the outcomes, and ultimately quality improving the whole way through.
For sure.
So it's been a pleasure, man, to get to this point. I know, man. You had some
been
fear
rough.
around it. How long have I talked to you about doing this?
Gosh, it's since we met, so 3 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, you've kind of led us that way. You've always kind of given us a goal and, got us to get to this point. So we're excited finally to be here. Like we're wanting to do good work and, serve the people.
And
in a
so,
meaningful way.
as we all know, dude, over the last, they started a licensing on a facility and it got caught up right in the middle of the moratorium. Okay. Mm-hmm. So now, over the last 2 years, not me, but a ton of other consultants have tried every other pivots and all of these things that the whole industry's tried that none of them have worked. So they have hang tight, did it the right way, credentialed the right way, acquired certifications the right way, and now they're operational the right way. And so it's just so awesome to see. But what I think is the best part about it all is the why, right? Mm-hmm. Like what brought because you guys are from Hawaii, right? You relocated from Hawaii. Mm-hmm. You've flown back multiple times to liquidate to fully relocate out here. So what's the why behind Mana Health and Wellness? Where's the why come from? Where's the name come from? And why is it so important to you?
Okay, well, it's a long story.
That's fine.
So we originally moved here to retire. And we're in the business of serving people for 20 some odd years, I started working with the mental health population when I was 17. I'm 44 now, so it's been that amount of time. I think when we were, living in Hawaii and working that, and we were taking care of my grandparents, we didn't really have a lot of time to do something different, vacationing, anything like that. We're a working family. We've always worked, we work all the time. Mm-hmm. And so when we originally moved here, it was to vacation, to retire and work on our food truck. That was our dream. We've always liked feeding people and we cook very well. So that was our thing,
Yep.
We got here and my nephew, he's our why.
Yeah.
So we've, he's been in and out of our lives for many, since he was born, right? And he had a lot of issues. And so he liked that lifestyle. He liked to party, he liked to drink, he liked to do drugs and all of that. But he didn't really find a path to get out of that. He white knuckled it, and he never really worked a program. And so when we moved here, we moved him here first, with my sister, because we moved in stages. So he moved with my sister, and he got here in 2022, and he just never really, he didn't work a program, he didn't, partake in any of that. He just, like I said, he white-knuckled his sobriety. And so he had a good year and a half of being sober, but he didn't deal with the whys and the whats and the who and like what got him to that point. He just wasn't able to look at that. And he had a good year and a half of recovery, and then he got back into that lifestyle, and he met a girl, and then, got into doing drugs again. And so at about a year and a half, we lost him. He had one lethal dose of fentanyl, and he was gone overnight. And so that kind of rocked my family to its core, and imagine. Just, the fact of losing someone like that at such a young age, at 26 years old, that's rough. And so I think the reason that kind of catapulted us into we've always been in service, where our whole lives was in service, but it kind of just naturally fit, for us to take our mental health background and then to apply it into the field here, which is, substance abuse. And that's kind of the motivating factor for why we do what we do. We got caught up in, as you said, the moratorium, and it's just been a nightmare. And I have to give props out to my mom and my family. The reason why we do what we do and we're able to do that is because we're led by a very strong mother. Right?
Shout out to Sharon.
Yeah.
Shout out to Miss Sharon Found. I have a soft spot in my heart for her. She reminds me of my mom, but it's more than that. It's the fact that she has a heart and wants to do it the right way. Yeah. and she's not afraid to have the tough conversations,
No,
and
not
she's
at
not afraid to pass on something just because there's a paycheck that is attached to it.
For sure.
I've had a front row seat to it, and it's just been, and that's why you guys will succeed.
Yeah.
Right? Because it starts at the top and then it funnels down through you and your sister and Anthony and the rest of the team members.
For sure.
That now you will start to incorporate as more paths and payer sources start to open up.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I'm the one who took those calls from your mom for 2 years.
For sure.
And a lot of times I had to tell her things that she didn't want to hear. And every other consultant was telling her something totally different.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
telling her, please, they're wrong. Just listen to me, you know?
Yeah.
And she did, right?
She
and
did.
so she
Yeah.
did.
And she's always had a respect for you.
And it's been a
Yeah.
mutual thing. And so finally now, and this is for everybody out there, for all the listeners all around the world, especially here in Arizona, you know, where you get that nice fancy clinic and you get that a Department of Health license up on the wall. And yes, it is definitely a moment to high five, to celebrate, because that's the first step and the first hurdle you got to attack. Now there's about 17 other ones that you haven't even begun to start until
For
you
sure.
tackle that first one, right?
Yeah.
And so the amount of fortitude that it takes for 2 years, you know, and to stay after it to the point where Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Maricopa Focus, Access ID, and was able to get an Access ID, American Indian Health Plan, all the other access payer sources through the MOUs. We have a plethora of different professionals now, because the facts is that not many people have figured out how to do it the right way, or didn't want to spend the money up front that it took to do it the right way, to have longevity and consistency in this industry. And so it's just been something so cool to watch. But the why is the why, right?
Exactly.
Because unless we're the Sharons of the game, you know, usually all of us, except maybe you two that got skill sets in compliance, which is probably the second most important part than the one who signs the checks. Normally, what we have to do is pursue our passion. We got to let go of our finances a little bit.
For sure.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, and so I think that's what, you know, has been the best part is, you know, having the ability now to scale, to have size, you know, same thing at Desert, to put a program together where you could have both.
Right.
And if your staff's taken care of financially and their heart is all the way in, that connection with the clients is top tier, which leads to excellent, consistent, concise documentation, which leads to the outcomes, you know, that you're already providing.
Exactly.
Now, Ron, what's been your experience, you know,
Yeah.
over there? Because I just introduced you to them. You know,
Yeah.
you've heard a lot about them. I've, you know.
You know, so I can just give an experience from yesterday, right, with your mom. So I showed up there and was talking to her for a few minutes before I got into doing some work. And right away, she started talking about a particular client who she wanted to make sure this client is getting the care that they require. Are we meeting? Are we meeting the parameters? And I want to go above. I want to make sure that all of it is highlighted and documented. But are we doing it? What else do we need to do? And she kept asking those questions with her pen in her hand. Right? She's got her pen in her hand because she's waiting. Because anything that comes out of your mouth, she's writing it down.
Yep.
She's writing it down. She's old school. She's got notes and notes and notes. And that just impressed me. Was she cares about the person. She cares about the human, and I know that comes from your nephew, her grandson. She shared that story with us. So I know 100% that you're all going to be successful over there because of that. As Jason and I like to say, God loves that stuff.
Yep.
And you know, you can't fake that kind of, and when you come from that place of, you know, compassion and understanding, but more importantly, you all have an extensive business background because it has to make sense business-wise,
For sure.
right? And when all those things align, when you know three sides of the triangle in this industry, you got the administrative side, the clinical side, and the business side. And sometimes some of those decisions don't align with the other areas. A clinical decision doesn't align with the business side, and the business side doesn't align with the administrative side. And it's finding that happy medium and having a vast staff, which you guys do. You have an amazing staff there that's very diverse and has experience, and you bring in somebody who has the experience of watching this happen here in Arizona over the last 3-4 years, and knowing what We've seen it all. We know what doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's playing 3-card Monte, banana in the tailpipe. I'm only going to do this little shady thing.
Right.
It doesn't work.
Temporarily,
Yeah.
one time.
It
No.
doesn't work. I'm just going to bend the rule. It doesn't work that way. Not in this state. Not anymore. You have to be, and you have to go through. It took you 2 years.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of it, and it takes patience, it takes time, it takes money, right, to be able to weather that storm. And I think that's the design now here in behavioral health, not just in Arizona, but across the country. We're seeing the trend. They want to make sure there isn't any bad actors. They want to make sure everybody's in this for the right reason. And more importantly, they want to know what your why is.
Right.
They want to know, why are you getting into this field? So, yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome
and that's the
experience.
next phase to come, right? To share the origin story of each one of your family members and all the things to come. So everybody tune in. That'll be exciting to see. But again, you know, it always starts with that beginning, right? I don't think any of us wake up and, you know, we're finally managing our own thoughts at 7 years old and are like, BHT, compliance, right?
Right.
You know, it's a journey, and we kind of loosely talked about it, you know, because when people come to the clinic and they see it, it's got you guys all over it.
It does.
It's
It does.
Hawaiian. It's your vision. It's your passion. It's everything meaningful to you, and you feel that right when you walk into it. But this isn't a family that came from Hawaii and was doing transmission flushes, and then decided they're going to come out here and they're going to do behavioral health. So I want you to share the kind of journey of, you know, childhood, coming out here, what it's been like, you know, because you guys have really been in behavioral health for 27 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
You guys have been in mental health for
Been a long time.
27 years, dude.
Yeah.
It's been a very, very, very long time. So if you can just kind of share just, you know, the journey, the lead up to it. I know you guys have had businesses, food trucks, mental health clinics out there. And then you saw a need to come out here and do it, and then you made that move out here. So you can kind of share up to that point of coming out here in 2020, 21, landing here, shell-shocked maybe a little bit. Can you kind of share, you know,
Sure.
without, you can leave out specifics because there's no point in certain specifics because it doesn't even matter.
No, I think, you know, living in Hawaii, we just, we worked. We were a working family the whole time, right? And so...
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, nothing's changed. Yeah, and I think I got that from my mom. When she takes breaks from her one work to do another kind of work, and that's what she does. She rests in between with other different types of work. We got here in 2020. The reason why we moved here was my nephew was going to school here in ASU. His name was Kendall, and he didn't want to move back home. He wanted to stay here, and so we kind of wanted something different, something new. We took care of our clients, our mental health clients. We had them for about 20 years. Wow. Yeah, so the longest ones.
They were long-term mental health facility.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
long term. So we started working in the state, you know, the state of Hawaii, and we had state contracts. And that was starting from 2000. And so we had the hardest of the hardest cases. We had the, you know, very severely mentally ill folks. Schizophrenia primarily is the people that we worked with. So we've kind of were always in that service mode of working with people, making people's lives better, you know, and trying to take a person in a very crippling state, you know, and trying to give them tools to get better at what you know, in however whatever that looked like to them, you know, and primarily because they were so severely mentally ill, there wasn't an outcome where they would be able to live on their own, you know, and so because they were so crippled by their mental health, we've kind of, my family, we stepped in every aspect of their lives, right? We, from the moment that they will wake up until the moment that they go to sleep, they dealt with us, you know, and I think that's what made us different in business is because we approach it as a family, you know, and
Connection.
and
Come
so
on, man.
you know, and it's like when you see someone that's in need, right? When you see someone that needs something and then you can give that to them or at least give them a path so that they can provide for themselves, that's where we step in. You know, we kind of always looked at it like that, you know, and so now living in Arizona and working in this, you know, population and in this industry, in this field, there's a lot of need here. And I think that's what makes us different is because we look at the whole person and we see how that we can affect their lives in a meaningful, impactful way. It's not a blanket approach. It's a very individualized way of doing things. And I think that's what makes this different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
And that's what's good. I just thinking of, shout out to Estel Wallace from Cornerstone when we recorded Estel. We've known Estel for a long time. He's been a mentor to both of us, to me. And he, we were in the beginning stages of Desert, and we were talking, and we had him on the podcast, and he was talking about what makes people successful in any field, but especially this field. Remember, he posed the question to us, what's going to make you different? How are you going to be different than everybody else that hangs a license on the wall, goes and gets some houses to put people in, gets a clinical director, hires a staff? What's going to make you different? And that's that individualized care.
Exactly.
Right? And then that unique family approach. I know a lot of behavioral health places in Arizona. I don't know any ones that got the family dynamic like that.
Well, it's huge, because you can feel it, because the clients ultimately want to feel loved.
Sure.
That's what they want to feel. They want to feel loved. They want to feel heard by ownership. Yeah. Where I'm at now at Desert, it breaks my heart when I walk in there and I don't know every client, their diagnosis, what they've been up to, because up until the last maybe quarter, I always knew that because I'm involved, I'm connected, I'm just taking over groups, I'm doing all those things. But past change, but that's what they feel. If you go on Desert Recovery Center's Google reviews, minus that one dude, I'm not even gonna bring his name up. That whatever,
he's struggling.
Yeah, he's just struggling, disgruntled. Anyways, every review talks about the heart of the staff.
Oh, for sure.
Not the mansion, not the spa, not the
not the chiropractor and the
never
masseuse and the.
Yeah. It's never that. It's that they feel heard, they feel loved, and that's what they feel. So having that as the leadership heartbeat in your family and what brought you guys out here, then to couple that with a nice facility, and that's where the success comes from.
Exactly.
And then ultimately not listening to just. I don't want to put anybody's names out there, but just listening to people who are actively doing it. Right. Because sure, that individuals were probably right, but that was 2019. And something
trying to relive 1997, brother.
It happens, brother. It happens. And so I just kind of want to take some more of the time here just to really understand, how huge this moment is, being operational today, getting ready to launch over the next 60 days with realistically on a 60-day time frame with another 5 payer sources. How many square feet is the clinic? Do you know off the top of your head?
It's just about 12,000 square feet.
It's massive. So we got a 12,000 square foot. You guys got a 12,000 square foot clinic that's got everything ready to go right now, and the payer sources are now, coming to fill it, right?
Exactly.
But you have had so many different people out there with this amazing facility. When I first met you guys had a place out in Coolidge you inherited, but didn't realize that it sat on agricultural land. Yeah. It wasn't a quarter mile around it. It was in it, And I remember I went, this is 3 years ago. I went with your mom down to, because she called me. I was like, I'll go out, help you on your church. So we went out there, pitched the city council, and, I came with it. And they're like, yeah, okay, bye. Yeah. And so that's when I had to have a hard conversation and say, hey, look, you need to relocate. You need to get to somewhere where you're going to have some business. I know, but this is your best chance. And she did it. So that was 2023. So we're now pushing 2026. We're talking from putting that initial application in, and then the very next week a moratorium got the same email came the same week you submitted it. So you submitted it, moved out here, liquidated homes, moved your whole entire family out here, and then a moratorium got put up on everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Right? Now, there's other pivots, but none of those pivots are legitimate pivots. So when that green light comes, like it has came now, waiting the right way, if we would have done any of those pivots, most likely we would never get this green light today.
Oh, guaranteed. Yeah. That's
so now
sure.
It's all worked for, to come together right now for this moment, from all the other players in the industry not being able to figure it out, from DES to Department of Corrections to all the different, avenues to acquire clients. Everyone is just so grateful because what they know now is not only with the housing that comes with the clinic and the relationships that you have to be able to make that happen for the client that meets those requirements, but it's that graduation day when not only are you leaving with a coin, a certificate, you're leaving with an offer letter and a job and a start date. Mm-hmm. So now it doesn't, if you're a reentry client, because that's what broke my heart, our hearts at the reentry facility we built and ran, is it felt like day 91, day one all over again because they couldn't even afford to pay $150 to get into a sober living.
Yeah.
So this will be a true step down program for you guys. I love what you guys have put together, and I know Desert will help and assist in any way, shape, or form that we can, and I know that it'll go back and forth. But when we talk about it real quick, what's the biggest thing coming forward that you're looking for? Like, because there's a lot of different things that are coming, getting ready to open. We're going to, you guys got yourself at your first reentry event, right? Getting ready to launch tracks of programming, getting ready to become full-time compliance, right? What's on your mind?
What's on my mind?
Yeah, what's on your mind? Because there's a lot coming, Roy, and you're at the top.
Oh, I know. There's a lot on my mind. Right?
Yeah.
Primarily, I'm taking lead from you guys, kind of seeing where to go. I think what you guys have done together and what I appreciate, and I see just the two of you that you work well together and you're there to serve, the clients. And so I think we're just looking forward to being able to take clients and work well with people. And, I'm just looking forward to, having all these the past 2 years come to fruition. It's been a long 2 years, and you know that.
Can you share that one story that your mom told me about how close we were to possibly, having to just close it up, and then,
Oh yeah, I mean,
would that donor be comfortable talking about that little story, or would you want to share it? Just the blessings from the community,
yeah,
right? Because of the work, because of the heart, because of the Monoway.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if
Yeah, I could tell you that story for sure. 2 years, it's been a struggle just to survive here, because initially we were just moving here to retire and to work our food truck. So we had everything that we've built for 25 years and we saved, we put it away, and we had property out in Hawaii that we had to liquidate, because this 2 years has been a struggle for us. We've put everything, all of our time, all of our effort into making this clinic happen, and and to fulfill a legacy that kind of helps people, and because of what happened with our family, we don't want another person to have to go through that, another family to go through that. And so just staying alive, it was a struggle, and we sold all of our houses, we refinanced everything just to keep this dream alive. And we were down to nothing. I mean, at one point we couldn't even pay our own bills. The staff that we had, we paid them, we paid them first.
Always, yeah.
That's how it should be. If they work, they get paid. We haven't gotten a paycheck in a while. So I think about maybe 6 months ago when we were really down and out, when we didn't have anything left. There was no other pivots in terms of a property to sell.
Just a pure waiting game.
Pure waiting game, and we just couldn't make our bills. And one of our prior clients, she's passed, and she lived with us for 20 years.
You took care of her forever.
And we took care of her until, from when she was a young 50-year-old till 70 some odd years. Her sister, who's still alive, kind of, I guess, liquidated or closed her trust and donated $175,000 to us, just for us to stay alive, and because they've seen the work that we've done, to change people's lives. And so we just sent out like a letter to, some people, asking for donations and
prayers,
whatnot,
love,
prayers, and
all of it,
stuff.
anything,
everything. And we did not expect that, and it just came in at the right time, and it allowed us to, get a little more time, and to a little more longevity and staying alive a little bit longer. And then we've done some other things as well, like refinanced another house just to keep keep our doors open. So,
Launched a food truck. I mean, we're
Yeah.
talking about food trucks all night, behavioral health by
Yeah.
day, but let me just, when someone is willing to, bless you and the family, that's only because of your heart.
right.
And only what they've seen of your heart, so that's just a shout out to everyone. But what that lady has done and that family and that blessing has given us the ability now to put you guys in a position now to do this thing the right way and to
Exactly.
succeed. But you had to do it the right way. You had to wait the steps and you had to lead with your heart.
Yep.
And you had to make sure that X's and O's made sure that they were actually X's and O's.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Because it could get misconstrued really, really, really fast. And so currently Mana's open. They're located on, if you want to share a little bit where they're located.
4550 North Black Canyon Highway. So it's right off the 17.
So it's on the 17 access road of Camelback. It is perfect for access demographic. They also take BCBS, some in-network contracts. But again, it's so close, guys. Striking range, massive clinic, phenomenal heart, every service you could possibly imagine, leaving with a job, all the things. They want to put you in a position to work your last month while you're there to be able to leave with a check. They truly want to do it the right way. And the proof should be in the pudding, because if they didn't want to do it the right way, we wouldn't be here 2 years later.
Exactly.
And so because, of the close relationship I have with Sharon, I've had a back row seat, front row seat at times to kind of closed mouth friend kind of guide her, and to see you here, to see her here, to just, be able to watch this thing happen and find some synergy between Desert and Mana.
Exactly.
It's just, man, I just couldn't be more excited for the future.
Excited, yeah.
So if you're someone who's looking to get a Mana outpatient, reentry programming, individual, all those things, Mana Health and Wellness, you could reach out directly to Roy Robbins, Sharon Fountain, the ManaHealthAndWellness.com. Ron, where can they reach us?
DesertRecoveryCenters.com. Instagram, Desert Recovery Centers. Jason and Sarah, Ron Alessi, you can instant message us on Facebook, Instagram as well. Ronnie, no matter what, on TikTok. If you need to get a hold of them, you can reach out to one of us, and that we're everywhere. And I'm just so excited. I'm glad that you introduced me to this family, because I know that I'm going to have a cool story to tell when I see the outcomes that are going to be produced, just like the outcomes that you all had for 20 years, serving a population that, you really talked. I didn't know that about you all. I just found out about that now, but that's a population of men and women who today's society throws away.
Exactly.
Somebody with schizophrenia and mental illness that they can't live on their own, they lock those people away and they treat them like animals.
Mm-hmm.
And to have you and your family and just what I know of you all to treat people and the outcome from it, right? You guys didn't do it for this reason, but look, a family member of somebody you took care of blessed you to be able to
a huge
continue
blessing,
the
yeah.
good work that you all do. So I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Well,
too.
man, it's going to be fun. I know that. Never a dull moment,
go.
especially if we're involved. But again, man, new episodes dropping every week in 2026. If Matt can if I could not cancel my appointment.
Yeah,
But
keep it
new
together.
episodes
New.
dropping every single week. He's got them auto set
Let's
Tuesday,
go.
late night Tuesday. So when I wake up at 4 a.m., before he gets that message, where is it, bro?
Yeah.
It's already posted.
Boom.
So shout out to Matt, the producer. Shout out to Strivena, Desert Recovery Center Studios. Shout out to Mana Health and Wellness. Roy, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show today. Look forward to having you back. And can't wait to watch the outcomes that you guys turn out over there, man. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you
New
very much.
episodes dropping every week. Tune in.